Biological warfare involves the use of pathogens, like bacteria, viruses, or toxins, to cause illness or death in humans, animals, or plants. It can be aimed at military targets or civilian populations, with the intent to incapacitate or kill. The effects can range from localized outbreaks to widespread epidemics, making it a highly controversial and regulated form of warfare under international law. Was COVID-19 related to biological warfare? One way to create a biological weapon is via gain-of-function research, which involves deliberately altering the genetic makeup or properties of organisms, typically pathogens, to enhance their functions or traits. This can include increasing their virulence, transmissibility, or resistance to treatments. Now tell me, what kind of homicidal psychotic would spend millions trying to make viruses that are resistant to drugs? You've got to be making an awful lot of money to kill 7 million people. Fauci and his wife are worth 11 million. Another public servant sacrificing for you. I never got paid that kind of money working for the state. In fact, I could have made a lot more in industry rather than government. And the thing was that nobody forced Fauci. That type of ingenuity comes from a passion for what you are doing, kind of like Dr. Frankenstein. I just don't get it. Why isn't everyone speaking up about this? They protest about everything under the sun and loot and destroy while they are silently and deliberately being poisoned and infected. Incomprehensible. Lawrence Tabak, the principal deputy director of the National Institutes of Health, NIH, finally admitted to Congress that NIH-funded gain-of-function research took place at the Wuhan Institute of Virology before the COVID-19 pandemic. This admission came after years of denials and evasions by federal health officials, including Dr. Anthony Fauci, former director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. Representative Debbie Lesko questioned Tabak during a hearing, prompting him to admit that taxpayer funds supported research altering viruses to enhance their properties. The controversy intensified as it became evident that the NIH and its affiliates, such as EcoHealth Alliance, funded research to increase the infectiousness or virulence of pathogens, raising ethical and safety concerns. Dr. Fauci, a prominent figure in public health, had previously denied such funding, playing down the nature of the research and calling congressional members liars. This revelation has fueled debates about the oversight of scientific research involving dangerous pathogens and the responsibility of institutions in preventing accidental or deliberate outbreaks. Was Fauci involved with the Wuhan Institute? Fauci was director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases from 1984 through 2022, where he authorized the release of NIH funding. Coincidentally, from 1998 through 2022, programs or studies where Fauci was the principal investigator or project leader received just shy of $62 million in grants. Each payment was identified as NIAID extramural activities. So I looked this up. NIAID extramural activities denote external research and funding activities conducted by the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases that involve money awarded to researchers, institutions, and organizations that are outside of the institute. Anthony Fauci has admitted to providing funding to the Wuhan Institute of Virology for collaborative research on coronaviruses. Yet the NIH records show no money going to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Dr. Fauci was combative and refused to provide requested documents when questioned by the Senate. Fauci accused Senator Rand Paul of propagating lies about him related to funding for risky coronavirus research at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Fauci consistently said that he wasn't involved and that it was a collaborative program, but it was not an NIAID program according to its designation. Turns out that this unlisted collaboration was with the EcoHealth Alliance, a company that studies transmission of viruses in humans. They received another $4.2 million from Fauci. Do you know how many Americans could have been helped by that money? Let me tell you. In 2020, before the massive influx of illegal immigrants, there were 128 million households in the U.S. That means that the $62 million that Fauci authorized to cause so much damage would provide about $500,000 to each household in the US. They waste our money and starve the people with useless medical research that benefits the industrial medical complex, including Big Pharma, the AMA, and so many more. Some you will bring up that the homeless are not necessarily captured in the household data, and you are correct. We certainly should help those suffering in the streets that are victims of this dystopic society. There are about 650,000 homeless people in the US. Many of these people are illegal migrants and really shouldn't be entitled to any of this money, but we don't have a clue how many of them are on our streets. So let's just include all 650,000 homeless and give them a cut. We'd still get $513,000 each. That is one industry, the tip of the iceberg. The banking industry, the movie industry, economic studies, and we're still broke. What about the money wasted on GMO farming and studying what color eyeshadow looks best on a brown rabbit? If every one of the useless programs in every sector were eliminated, we'd all be multimillionaires. All of us, from the richest to the poorest. There would be no need for crime, envy, homelessness, or hunger. Then we work on the world governments. Even better, what if all the countries of the world joined together to create this prosperity for the people, instead of meeting in secret to plot ways to depopulate the world? You know what would be incredible? If an alliance of nations were working together to eliminate the world of a species of people without souls who have taken it over with bribes and blackmail. Now we are finding out that there are even people that were drugged and blackmailed like Justin Bieber. That's not unusual. It's part of the playbook. Why do you think Epstein had so many videos? Get your popcorn out, guys, because we could be seeing a lot of videos coming out in the future. I can't even imagine the enormity of this investigation into worldwide corruption at the highest levels. Anthony Fauci held a government position which authorized him to spend money on projects that he was getting paid to oversee. And he likely got paid many millions to oversee this research as a side gig while he was overseeing the Division of Allergy and Infectious Diseases for the National Institute of Health. Heck, I have very diverse experience in the medical industry and I have common sense. Where do I sign up? And even one step further, almost there. Anthony Fauci is like a grain of rice in a Chinese takeout dinner. There's lots and lots of Anthony Faucis running amok, stealing from us in federal, state, and local agencies. This video started out as a video about biological weapons, but how could I cover them without addressing one of the worst cases that we know of so far? So subscribe because I've got a lot more coming on unethical secret government programs. In the words of Michael Jackson, who also was targeted by the elite, if you want to make the world a better place, just look at yourself and make the change.